I'm Tim Barnes, 1632 Real Estate Company, and there are two costs. I'm gonna call it kind of the trifecta. We'll call it the trifecta, it's like a horse race, right? Of your costs, okay? So first you're gonna have your down payment, called the DP, down payment, okay? And let's take, we need a number. Let's just call it a $200,000 home that we're gonna base it off of. You have your down payment, and then you have your CC, your closing costs, escrows, insurance and stuff like that, taxes, and prepaids, and what the lender will charge you, right? So, and then you have your inspection costs. So we'll just call this IP, or IN is what you could call it, IN. These costs are gonna vary, so let's base it off of like $200,000. Let's talk about your down payment, because there's a couple of different ways that you're gonna end up with down payment. Two, you're not gonna have a down payment. Whenever you go to buy a home, if you're an FHA, FHA is gonna be 3%. And then your conventional loan is going to be 5% to 20%. Your rural development is gonna be 0 down, okay? So there's a way to get no down payment, right? And then there is VA, right? If you're a veteran, thank you so much for your service. I appreciate you. But the VA will get you 0 down as well. Yes, you get it, but you don't, because they build it in the loan over 30 years or something like that. Average home is 30 years. So your down payment is gonna be based 3% on 200,000. Let's just take an FHA. It's gonna be about 6 grand, okay? About $6,000 in down payment that you're gonna need. And then you're gonna have your closing costs, escrows, and prepaids. On a $200,000 property, it used to be about the same as the down payment, but with the points that they charge, depending on what lender you're using, that's why it's super important for you to put lenders up against each other. So many people will just be like, well, my brother used this lender or this bank and they say that it's just gonna be this amount and they go with that amount. I wouldn't do that. I would literally take 3 or 4 or 5 or as many as I needed to line them up and go, who am I getting the best deal with? Because at the end of the day, it's about you. You're gonna be with this home for 30 years. Are you really gonna be with this home for 30 years? Probably not. We still don't wanna be paying for more than we need to, because they're already racking us as it is. So that cost, now I would figure about $7,500 to $8,500. That's pretty fair to say. I'm going ahead and take the higher of it and say $8,500. And if you equal these together, you're looking at about between $13,000 and $14,000 that you need saved. Then you have inspection cost. General home inspection is going to cost you $550. Termite's going to cost you another $125. If you have a structural, that could cost you another $400. I've seen them go as much as $500. Most people are only doing the general home inspection and the termite inspection. So your inspections are gonna be about $750. Let's just, because if you have anything left over, whatever, you gotta keep it. There's your earnest money, okay? We're gonna have to make this a quad, not a trifecta. Now the earnest money you get back, so it's not really a cost to you. And the way that the contract is written in Oklahoma, it's written in favor of the buyer. Out of over 500 deals, I can't remember one time that a buyer didn't get their earnest money back. So I'm not gonna actually count that one, but you're still gonna need it. So I would say on a $200,000 property, you're only gonna need about $500 to $1,000 in earnest money. So let's make sure that we do account for that. Back to you, Tim. And so remember, you get this money back. So if you go through all of these things, you get it back if you're left with any of these. Now, I already know what you're saying. Well, I can't afford to buy a home because it costs too much. I'd have to have $15,000. Yeah, I mean, probably a couple $1,000, because you know what? There's grants out there. If we could get you to qualify for a grant, guess what? You don't have the down payment. Or if you qualify for a rural development, or USDA, or your VA, there's no cost there, right? So that would become a 0. Maybe we went to the sellers and said, hey, Mr. Seller, this $200,000 property will give you $205,000 and you pay $8,500 of our closing cost. They may go for it. You know, before COVID era, people did pay for closing costs. Like sellers paid for buyers' closing costs all the time, happened all the time. Pivot to COVID, we couldn't get anybody's closing costs paid for. You had Californians and people from all over the country moving here, selling their homes for like $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000. People bringing cash and paying way more overvalue than a home could comp out of. And remember, a home is only worth what a buyer is willing to pay for it and what a seller is willing to sell it to them for. So whenever the government restricts that and tries to dictate that, it really irks me, because that's not a free market whenever you do that. That's my opinion, and I have the opinion. So back to this though, back to the cost. So if we can get them to pay for it, guess what? Boom, 0. Now you're just really dealing with inspection costs. So what if I could help you buy a home with only your inspection cost out? And what if those inspections only cost you about $550? Would you buy a home if you only had to spend $550 on an inspection, which I highly recommend you get an inspection on a property because you want to know what's going on with it. And then $500 to $1,000 earnest money. Again, I would highly recommend anyone to buy a home as quickly as possible, just because you get to start adding money into essentially your account, right? Into yourself. You get to start paying yourself back for staying in a place, as opposed to these people telling you, oh, don't ever buy a home is a scam. Well, dude, not everybody's a billionaire like you, okay? Or not everybody has $100 million and can go buy a 5,000 unit complex, all right? Most of us can't do that. So you got the trifecta cost. So there are these things that we can help you to, like if it's $15,000, and I would encourage you to save the money, have money, because whenever we save this money, if we save this money, and it's highly likely that we can, guess what? You're gonna take that back to your bottom line. You can now furnish your house with it, get you some new furnishings, and or you can invest it. You can put it into cryptocurrency. I like to put mine back into real estate, so maybe you could go buy another home or invest in real estate, which we have opportunities like that coming up if you can qualify for it. So this is that cost down. So just know that you're gonna have your down payment. It's gonna be a certain amount, about 3%, 5% depending. You're not gonna have it if you're a rural development or USDA. And then you're also gonna have your closing costs, escrows, and prepaids, like your insurance and the cost of doing business with the lender and your title fees to bring the abstract up. That's all of that closing cost factor. So you're about $7,500 to $8,500 in there. And then you're gonna have your inspection cost. So if we can get a lot of this way for you, you gotta ask yourself, would I buy a home? Or maybe you have more questions about it. And if you do, that's what me and my team are here for. Would love to help you. Again, I'm Tim Barnes, 1632 Real Estate Company. I hope this video has helped you. If you know somebody that's thinking about buying a home and they've never bought a home, this would probably be a really good video to give to them. Again, they can call or text me or my team anytime. My information is down there below. Look forward to working with you, and I'm out of here.